Gotta keep bars on all our windows. See how we are. We only sing about it once in every 20 years. See how we are. Oh, see how we are. See how we are. Yeah, see how we are.
One of my favorite bands of all times, one of the influencing bands on a young, little, if you can imagine that, Tony Jones. You just heard from X, See How We Are, the name of that one. Before that, we heard from Anti-Flag, Going Out to the PO Taxpayer and CoalitionRadio.us. You can kill the protester, but you cannot kill the protest. You are tuned into the Tony Jones Show online at TonyJones.org, Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show, on Twitter at Tony Jones NRI. I want to thank you all for tuning in and remembering to catch the live broadcast. And, of course, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Thousands and thousands of listeners over the air, over the internet, via social media. I want to thank you all. As always, I am the man with the most respect for his audience ever. And I don't want you all to forget that. Unfortunately, as with many radio programs, we operate in warped time, and it feels like we just sat down. The floorboards seem like they just started creaking moments ago, and it is almost time to wrap it up. DJ Psycho Eddie's here. The PO Taxpayer is here. I want to give the floor to you guys. First of all, I want to talk about social media because, and I've been bringing this up to all of my roundtable guests, because without social media, there's no way. Actually, Eddie and I may have met. PO Taxpayer is an old white rich guy. There is just no way we would have met.
Old white.
There's no way we would have met in the real world if it wasn't for this thing called social media. Now, on the other hand, DJ Psycho Eddie, we go to a great show. There's a band on stage pouring their souls out, and all the kids in the audiences have frowns on their face with their arms crossed, and they are staring at their cell phones. Now, and I'm not singing you out here because when you came into this studio today, you brought this device with you. I don't even know what that thing is.
Oh, yeah, it's
like brass knuckles. But what do you guys think about social media? Is it a net positive? Is it a net negative? Is it a 50-50? I'm seeing it
50-50.
I'm seeing it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Because I mean, you have to have that social media to get your word out there, but you have artists that are actually just giving up because they're inviting people into the studio, say, hey, look what I did. And the first 30 seconds into the song, you got two guys in the back of the room looking at their phone, going through their social media, saying, oh, look, yeah, Susie's down the street getting a beer. After we're done listening to this crap, we're going to go get a beer. And you're just ticking off the artist. I see both sides of that. As far as the great show, well, I've been to a lot of them, and yeah, you look around you always see that cell phone glow in the middle of the room. It is a necessary evil if you want to get your word out there, but I'm also not opposed to going out onto any major thoroughfare and handing out pamphlets too. I'm not afraid to do that.
Now, if you go to at Tony Jones NRI, I have a huge Twitter presence and a huge Twitter following because of a few articles I wrote that went national. I'm also kind of like a freelance. When I'm not here acting like an idiot, and when I'm not getting drunk with you, and when I'm not hanging out with you, I'm also kind of a freelance journalist. And I had a few articles that went national, kind of blowing up, as they say, my Twitter. And I have made connections with people from all over the world because of Twitter, which I only learned how to operate like 3 months ago. It's amazing.
Well, that's why I see, on a political basis, social media to be godsend. You know, it's ironic that we're talking about social media and its advances on the same week that the Providence Urinal probably began the final stages of its death journey.
See, the problem is that you can't line your birdcage
with social media,
with Twitter,
right? But ultimately,
you can, but it's very expensive.
Social media has given voice to the voiceless. You know, we operated under this sort of very unegalitarian rule by the media poobahs over the last couple of generations. They dictated what the message was, who heard it, and to what degree it was legitimate. That no longer exists. Independent media, new media, has blown the roof off of this old, stale, cynical, self-absorbed, cult of personality media world. And they're having a hard time dealing with it. And, I'm always available, by the way, for any of the people from the Providence Journal, WJAR, or WPRI. I am available as a grief counselor for your careers, particularly in what's going to happen in the next coming weeks.
Be working here pretty soon.
or they're going to be bloggers, which means you're going to be just like me. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Listen, I'm the oldest person in this room by far, and I've probably seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 125 to 150 true rock and roll concerts. Most of the bands that you guys cite as influences, I saw live. All right, so I understand. I've seen the evolution of what happens.
I hate to break it to you.
Yeah,
you're not that much older than I am. I'm a lot older than I look, and I've probably seen them too.
Okay, well, I mean, what we've seen then is when a rock and roll show. Going to a show was a life-affirming event. You waited all week. It didn't matter whether it was a Tuesday night or a Saturday night. Your week revolved around getting ready for the show. It might have been in town. It might have required a road trip. It might have required some additional preparations before traveling. What do they call it now? Pre-gaming. But
But you see, the problem comes in, especially when you go into the big concert. All those bands started somewhere.
Right.
Those are the local shows that Tony Jones and myself are going to now.
I understand.
We're going to those. One of these bands are going to be that big national act someday. We're catching them before they get big,
and we're playing them here on the Tony Jones Show before they get big.
Right, but you see, I want to talk about the physical involvement in the show because you guys were citing the distraction factor. A few years back, I went to a rock and roll concert, and my wife and I, my wife, I married up, all right, and I we're standing up, we're starting to get into the music, and people are yelling at us to sit down. And I looked, and the whole concept of sitting down at a rock and roll concert, okay, break out the Barca loungers. I realized that the genesis of that was the evil MTV, because in the MTV world, you sit glassy-eyed, stare to the boob tube, the one that eats your brains, and that's how you absorb entertainment. You're not involved in the entertainment. You're not part of the entertainment. Because, I performed as a jazz musician in high school and college, and I understand the concept, even though I'm not...
So white.
I am the whitest man alive, by the way. I understand...
Was this before or after tennis?
Do I look like I've ever played tennis in my life? Right? I understand that the need to get feedback from the crowd. You feed off of that. It's the same thing in radio. You want people, we're hoping in the coalition at some point to move into a format where we're accepting some phone calls, so we get that back and forth, so we get that ill will, that venom, that vitriol running. We want that blood rush. All right. So, but the kids today,
back in my
day, haven't been trained that way. They don't understand what it's like to slam dance, to trip out to a Grateful Dead concert. They've never seen any of those extremes.
Well, I have to tell you one thing, and you're going to get hate mail on this one. I know you. I only knew like one song from the Grateful Dead. Mm-hmm. It was the short one.
All right, but anyway, it just
as far as
there's
the
no
slam
connection
dancing and stuff like that. That's why I don't like sitting in the chair, because I am a bigger guy. If I stand up, the people behind me, 3 rows back, are going to be saying, "Sit your pudginess down. We can't."
Yeah, but they should be standing up.
Exactly.
They should be rushing the stage.
That's why we go to these smaller local venues. They don't even have chairs for you to sit down.
There's one.
It's one.
It's in the bathroom.
Well, at Manchester 65, we've got the Tony Jones P.O. Taxpayer couch in the back. By the way, you'd not be wanting to sit on that couch. I'm just telling you. The springs are a little. Okay.
I have tested that couch.
This isn't a joke, but I have a space in the same space as Manchester 65, and a bunch of the chairs were out for the dump, broken up, for the dumpster. And I'm thinking, man, did I, have a little bit too much plop down in that chair and smash it to smithereens?
But if anyone of a certain age is listening, you youngins, think of the last rock and roll show that you went to. I don't care what type of music it was, and you let loose. just really just let it all go for that hour or 2 hours.
Let
when
it
that
all
band
hang
out there, exactly, when that band out there is just cranking away. And I challenge people to do that this week. Go out and just find your inner rock and roll god or goddess.
Unfortunately, we do have to hold it there. DJ Psycho Eddie, let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
DJ Psycho Eddie is on Facebook. He is on Twitter, DJ Psycho Eddie. Just how you say it, that's how you spell it, that's how it is.
And P.O. Taxpayer, he's either P.O.'d or he's Po.
In this case, we both. CoalitionRadio.us,
which is blowing up, by the way.
And for the thanks to the Tony Jones God, we are on iTunes, we are on iHeartRadio. You can even find us on some station called AM 790. Sunday nights, 6 to 7 o'clock. We're off tomorrow because of the damn Yankees, but we're going to be back.
I'm going to take P.O. out for Father's Day tomorrow.
And because I am your father.
And with Coalition Radio, again, even if you're not into politics, check it out because it's something a little bit different. You have been listening to The Tony Jones Show. Unfortunately, I have to wrap it up. Only on weekends in studio next week, performing live for you. TonyJones.org is my website. Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. On Twitter, @TonyJonesNRI. Check out RIFreeRadio.org. For P.O. Taxpayer and DJ Psycho Eddie, we're going to hear a little Cherry Poppin' Daddies now. This is the Cherry Poppin' Strut. Bye, everybody. Bye.